He is a retired general who served as Director General of the Inter-Service Intelligence, ISI, Pakistani Intelligence, the premier intelligence agency in that country between 87 and 89, winning the war against the Russians during the late stages of the Soviet-Afghan war. He was involved in the whole thing, of course, and was involved in the war with India as a frontline tank commander before that in his younger years. And he joins us now. Gul's tenure as the head of the ISI coincided with Benazir Bhutto's term as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And he joins us now to break down the incredible developments. We'll talk more about it in the next segment, with the Russians saying they're going to block the roads in from the other side into Afghanistan, Pakistan blocking the main supply route into Afghanistan, Russian warships going up by Syria, because Russia recognizes the banks that run this country are desperate. They want to start a global war to cover up all their criminal activity. General Gul, we've only got a few minutes. We're going to come back from break, but it's good to have you with us. In a 2-minute summation, are we creeping closer to World War III?
John, I hope not. I hope not. I don't think we are going to go over the brink. Pakistan would also, I'm sure, exercise sobriety in the end. But it is only a paradigm shift which is needed on part of America, which is going to pull us out of this quagmire. So we have to wait and see how American policymakers, because they never stop surprising me. They shoot themselves in the foot every now and then. And this is now most critical period. They have to pull out from Afghanistan. They lost the war, and I don't know why they are doing all this. So really, we have to show that, because there is a possibility, as you very rightly said, that we could go to war because of Israel and India, not because of America, not because Americans want this to happen to one of their staunchest allies, Pakistan. No, not at all, because that is not in their interest. But whose interest is being served in this case? It's amazing that Americans are paying in blood and money and in their reputation, in all the dreams that Americans have been harboring. They have to pay a huge price simply to satisfy some of those spoiled children, but two of them, mainly Israel, because Israel has brought India on board and so on and so forth. So you've got to be very careful that we don't go over the brink.
Gen.Hamid Gul, again, is our guest, and he's going to be with us for 2 long segments coming up after this break, and we'll recap all of this, General, and get into the incredible developments. Why would they attack that Pakistani military base and kill more than 24 people? We'll cover that with really the top expert. The establishment hates their former ally, Gen.Hamid Gul, so much they've called him the real head of al-Qaeda, which, of course, is a complete fabricated joke. We know al-Qaeda has been given control of Libya and is now attacking Syria and works for the globalists. We'll be right back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen, and we've got a very important guest right out of the gates today. It is Wednesday, the 30th day of November, 2011. And 4 days ago, today's the 5th day, there was an attack on another Pakistani military base, killing at least 24 people and injuring scores of others. There are NATO, CIA, U.S. Army drones flying around all over the place, killing people in Pakistan, Afghanistan, you name it. Total bedlam, an attempt to destabilize the country. And Gen.Hamid Gul, former head of the Pakistani ISI, former frontline commander, also in a war with India decades before that, really the mastermind behind beating the Russians. A former big U.S. ally, has been called by major publications the real head of al-Qaeda. That's just, of course, absolutely asinine. And he joins us now I mean, we couldn't get any better expert. He's one of the main experts over in Pakistan on their national television. We couldn't get a better expert who's been there and seen it at every level to break down what's really going on. And in the times he's joined us in the last 4 years, he's always given us accurate assessments. We're getting the truth from General Gul, something we don't get from our occupied government. And so breaking down what this attack means, the supply lines being shut down from Pakistan into Afghanistan, the Russians shutting down supply lines, Russia threatening yesterday to attack Poland. They said, you know what, go ahead and move your missiles in. We're going to go ahead and attack. Go ahead and do it. I mean, this is huge escalations. So Gen.Hamid Gul, General Gul joins us. Sir, you've got the floor. Break down what happened with the attack, the incredible anger in Pakistan, the hardening of the line there in Pakistan, why you think this happened, and where it basically brings the world right now.
Well, we can speculate on this, Alex, and first hypothesis, as we call it in the military, the first possibility is that they want to extend war into Pakistan, because they've been always calling Af-Pak battlefield. Now, naturally, they have been using their drones indiscriminately, killing nearly 3,500 people, and most of them very innocent people, really. There may be just a couple of dozen Al-Qaeda operators there, and low-level operators. There was no high-level operator except one or two. The rest of the people were innocent Pakistani women and children, and their cattle and their properties all have been destroyed because of drone attacks. But unfortunately, in spite of Pakistan's democratic institution coming out very strongly, unanimously, to stop the drone attacks, requesting the Americans to stop them, they never stopped them because they don't respect democracy in Pakistan. This is the problem. So gradually the democratic institution began to lose their image in the eyes of the people, and army's image is going up as it decides to say, okay, we will confront the Americans if necessary. So, in fact, it has damaged democracy in Pakistan so much. But this particular attack, it was the final nail in the coffin of our relationship. Why did they do that? That's the first hypothesis that I was saying, that they want to extend war into. It would be madness of the first order, because that will push Pakistan into the lap of China, for all you can, politically. That's the political impact. The second case is that is this war winnable if they open a front towards Pakistan and the theater of war? Is it possible at a time when America stands exhausted, their allies, European allies, they want to leave Afghanistan as quickly as possible? The economic situation in America is in shambles. The market forces are really not being able to pull themselves together. So this is a situation, this hypothesis I rule out, that they are prepared to, because if they continue to push this way, Pakistan against the wall, then Pakistan may well, Alex, I'm telling you, may turn out to be China's Israel in the future. And that is not going to be good for anybody. I mean, this is a horrendous scenario which must be avoided. The other thing is that then why have they done this? Because if it is ridiculous to come in for an attack at this time, the second hypothesis, and I think my leading hypothesis, is that there is a tussle going on between the White House and the Pentagon and the newcons and the lobbyists of Israel and India. They are somehow they are pitched against the withdrawal, and particularly quick withdrawal. They want America to hang on, pay in blood and money. And there is another element which is very interesting. These are the security contractors. 100,000 and 5,000 more. 105,000 security contractors are now making hay in Afghanistan because there's so much money unaccounted for which goes into their pockets. And who are these guys? They are the ex-FBI, the ex-former CIA, and former military men. So they are making a lot of money. These old cronies of the serving generals are now really into, their hand is in the till, and they are making immeasurably amount of money. And there is another group, and these are security contractors also. They are in cahoots with the smugglers, the drug traffickers. And last year, the volume of opium produced in Afghanistan was 6,500 tons, which was down to 50 tons in the last year of Taliban rule in Afghanistan. So these 6,500 tons of opium on the open market would fetch something like, as a raw opium, it will fetch something like $5 billion. Now, this is a huge amount of money. But I am surprised that there has been no halt, because Pakistan has been traditionally the narcotic route towards Karachi and beyond. But for the last 6-7 years, there has been no big haul in Pakistan, no catches in Pakistan. So how is this so much of opium going across? Because this is 90% of world supply. So,
General, let me stop you there, because you obviously don't see a lot of U.S. television, but you can just type in U.S. troops protect poppies or protect opium into YouTube or Google. You will get BBC, CBS, ABC, and they just show the reporters going, in a new policy, and this is the last 5 years, we help grow it. We don't discuss where it's shipped. It's freedom. So they're publicly, I'm not kidding, I know it's crazy. They ship it here, and then when they catch people using it, they throw them in prisons owned by the very banks that launder the drug money. So it's a new level of drug dealing where they actually, the drug dealers actually put you in their prisons. But so obviously they want to stay there. You know, it's about the hundreds of billions of street value a year, as you said, 90% of opium production. But where is it going now that they've attacked this base? Now that the Russians are doing this, where do you see the situation in Afghanistan going as resistance mounts as we go into the 11th year coming up?
Yes. Now, this is a very precarious situation, and I said that China has also come out strongly in favor of Pakistan. And I described to you that China, over time, may become to Pakistan like America is to Israel. So Pakistan will have no choice than to come under the umbrella of China. And China obviously is not disinterested with the amount of money they have, and they're flexing their muscles here and there. And this would keep India on the wrong side of history, because India is being backed by America, and America is losing the war. They are losing their image, and they are being threatened from now all directions. I think look at the timings in which they have attacked Pakistani posts. It means they have hurt themselves more than anyone can hurt them. But at a time when 10,000 troops were to be withdrawn by 31st of December. So what happens to that? Because there was an attempt to find a face-saving formula by going to the Bonn. Earlier on there was Istanbul. And what happened to Istanbul? It was a fiasco. And now it was Bonn, and Bonn is no-go without Pakistan's participation. So the net result is that you have lost so much diplomatically, politically. Already economic loss is very much staring you in the eyes, and now you have strategically beginning to lose. So this is a very difficult situation for America today. I think if they don't set their bearings right, it is going to hurt them a lot more than it appears at the moment.
But let me stop you, General, because, look, I mean, I know you're sophisticated and the Pakistani people are sophisticated, but we have been seized by the big six megabanks. They are imploding Europe and bragging that Goldman Sachs, the main Federal Reserve owner, has conquered Europe through fraud. That's in our news. They are militarizing the police. They are setting up checkpoints in America. They are saying they can arrest us, torture us publicly now. I mean, this is some of the most brazen tyranny ever seen being publicly announced like it's no big deal. So clearly, the folks in Pakistan need to know America has been seized by a global criminal interest that wants to destroy America's name, that wants to destroy Pakistan. And I don't know how worldwide we fight such a threat that works through hijacked nations playing them off against each other.
Yeah, it's the sinister element, the dark element in American society, which has seeped deep into, and they have gotten control and clout over all the policy making, is somehow now so strong, you may have to fight for your freedom afresh. So it is amazing that such a lot of things are happening, and the American people are still not. There is no movement like moratorium way back in the days of President Nixon. There has to be a movement. The people of America have to rise against their own policies, against these coercive elements which are trying to destroy the American dream. They are trying to destroy everything. They are trying to somehow rail against their own best friends in the world. Pakistan has been their best friend. Pakistan has paid such a huge price, and Pakistan has done so much for America. People seem to have forgotten that. And this is a situation in which America seems to be on self-destruct. But it is not because of the American people, who are very innocent and very nice, very humane, very nice people to begin with. I think they respect democracy, they respect the human rights of other people as much as they respect their own rights. Then who is doing all this? We generally know who is there, but this confederation of, I would say, thugs and swindlers, cheats, this is now getting the upper hand, unfortunately, and they are, as you very rightly said, they're destroying America and they're destroying the world.
Well, yes, sir. The main financial advisor to Obama is Corzine, the former governor of New Jersey, the former head of Goldman Sachs. He made a 40-to-1 bet with MF Global money just to show the reckless psychology of these people. And when it didn't go well, the government allowed him to take private bank accounts and brokerage accounts of people in sub-companies that MF Global had bought. And I've had financial experts on. The news admits it's illegal, but the government's going to let them do this. I mean, that's what's scary, is that when you realize these swindlers and bank fraud people that run everything, they don't know military tactics. They're losing touch. And it's been multiple U.S. generals, Admiral Fox Fallon and others, who refused to attack Iran, who refused to attack. The only reason we didn't do this earlier. I mean, that's what I'm saying, is these people are insane, and I don't know how we get rid of them, minus another George Washington 1776.
Yes, absolutely. But look at the character of the generals at this time who are in office, in charge at this moment in Afghanistan. If they play along with these elements, as I described, the dark elements, the sinister elements within the American policy-making body, then I think they are not being loyal to their own country. They are not doing their duty, because you have to always weigh the cause and effect. What is the cause and what is going to be the effect? And on that scale, they are net losers. America is a net loser. So why are they doing things which will eventually put America in a hole? This is a very peculiar situation which has to be handled and which has to be addressed by the people of America. Nobody else can chastise them other than the American people themselves.
Gen.Hamid Gul is our guest for another 10 minutes, and we appreciate him giving us time here today. Very busy person. I mean, really, when you study psychology, you study history, as a general, as a former head of a famous intelligence agency who was very successful defeating the KGB, NKVD, the Russian military, all of them, you have to know the enemy. So looking at your enemy, the global megabanks, my enemy, the global megabanks, this global corporate globalism, they do want to destroy America while using us to carry out the next phase of their operation. They've moved our industry to China, so it is part of a larger double cross. They're going to implode America just like Europe next, but they want a war in the middle of that. Knowing the enemy, and that's the key, as you know, to winning a war and having supply lines, you know, those two paramount peaks together, those twin peaks. What concerns me, General, is now I see delusion in the elite. There's still a strategy, and I see the gambits, but it doesn't make sense in the end. Even if command destruction, order out of chaos is their overall excuse, it isn't going to work. I mean, the Russians now are threatening to start attacking countries. And the history shows the Russians will do things like that. I mean, this is so dangerous. Getting into the minds of these people, I know you've tried to do that probably. What do you think's driving them right now? What's driving Israel? What's driving the big banks? What's driving England?
Greed and fear. Greed and fear. There is a fear in Israel, there is fear in India that if the Americans leave and the Americans, they will be standing absolutely perched on the wrong sides of history. And as far as the banks are concerned and corrupt corporate America, corrupt corporate Europe, the corporate world is despicable. Now this really is tantamount to virtually, if you translate its spirit, that means corruption. So they are so corrupt that now you can't retrieve them. You've got to demolish them because you have to survive. The nations have to survive. America has to survive. It is important that America survives. Then these elements have to be cut out. There has to be surgical operation against them.
Well, they're certainly waging war against free humanity and every basic liberty and overthrowing the entire Bill of Rights and Constitution right now. But I guess in the final equation, General, the good news is everything that they're touching is turning to garbage.
Yes, indeed, it is. It is, because this act of 4 days ago, when they struck our security post on the border, I think this has really turned the scale against them. And now they can't, now it has to be reckoned with. You have to be now, you have come to a point where it's a tilt point, and you got to change your ways. And you got not to listen to those people who have been putting America in the wrong track, on the wrong posse.
Now, could there be another strategy? I mean, it looks like a bungle, but could the strategy be try to create political discord to destabilize the government of Pakistan as a desperate fleeing forward to start a new war with Pakistan? I mean, could this be conscious? Because they've done this, 3 or 4 times now in the last year, killing Pakistani troops, correct?
My dear Alex, if this was the design, then I think it has failed miserably, because it has put the American, the Pakistani government and Pakistan armed forces on the same page. If there was any daylight on account of this famous memo that was written by Hussain Haqqani, our ambassador in America, there was a daylight between the armed forces, the establishment, and the political government. But that is gone now. With this one act, the Americans have really brought the whole nation, alerted them. Everybody is out on the streets. People are shouting against America. There was already no love lost for American policies. But now I think it has really crossed all limits.
In closing, what's your view on an Iran strike? Israel's moving their Jericho missiles into firing position. My intel from people in U.S. intelligence is currently the green light's on. What's your take on that?
No, they will never do that. They can't defeat Iran. They have 278 sites which they will have to be taken out. That is impossible. Then 60% of oil supplies of the world can be cut off in a couple of days by Iran. No way that they can win this. It will be a sheer madness, and America must take clear of this. If Israel wants to do it, leave them, tell them, give them the warning. If you do it, go it alone, then we will not be with you. It's your business. You want to do it. And they were rubbed so badly in the south of Lebanon in 2006. How dare they do it if the Americans don't give go-ahead to them?
Well, yes, that's what Mullen, when he left, told him, don't do it, it's crazy. Panetta's told him it's crazy. The former head of Mossad, they removed him because he said it was crazy just a year ago. And that's what I'm being told. Everyone's telling him it's crazy. It's going to unify all the Arabs, all of the Persians, all of the Central Asians. Don't do it. But Netanyahu thinks he's going to be like Churchill and that it's going to make America come to his aid.
I think he should be summoned to America and put through a psychiatric test. I think this man is psycho. He has got to be reined in for the love of this world, for the love of freedom, for the love of people of America and the rest of the world.
Well, if everybody, even in the establishment, is smart enough to tell him not to do this, we do know there's covert bombings going on against the facilities right now in Iran. That's now basically being admitted. What's your view on Iran just taking this?
No, Iran is showing restraint, and I think it's just as well. But I was in Iran only a month back, and I found that nation is unperturbed about all the threats which are being dished out to them. They are united, and whatever there was a little fissure politically in the society, that immediately has disappeared after the threat from Israel, and they have closed their ranks. Now they are even more united than before. So really, I don't know. I don't think Israel will do that. I hope not. I hope not. I really, for sake of humanity and for the future of mankind, I hope this never happens.
All right, Gen.Hamid Gul, thank you so much for spending time with us. Hopefully you can update us as big developments take place, and I hope we can all have peace and friendship worldwide between Americans and Pakistanis. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Alex. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We'll be right back.